If you enjoy both African hunting and older rifles, double rifles, bolt action rifles of Holland & Holland, Rigby, Wesley Richards, Jeffrey, Mauser, please hit the subscribe button below and join our community where we discuss this. Today we take a look at the double rifle from the firm of James Wilkinson and Son, and it's amazing how much one can learn from a trade label. On this specific trade label, I would like to point out maybe 2 or 3 things. I think firstly, you can see that James Wilkinson was a gunmaker to His Majesty, and I think it was George III that he was actually a gunmaker to. Secondly, you'll also see that James Wilkinson was a gunmaker to the East India Company, so definitely exported weapons into the Netherlands. You can also see at the bottom it says successors to the late Mr. Henry Knock, and actually Henry Knock was the founder of what later became James Wilkinson and Son, or later even Wilkinson and Son gun makers. Now Henry Knock was by design a government contractor. So basically what he did is he developed firearms for the British government, and in 1804 he became the gunmaker to George III and provided an immense amount of flintlocks to the British government. Now when he passed, his son-in-law James Wilkinson took over the business, and later from him, his son Henry Wilkinson took over the business. Now during that period when James Wilkinson had the business, you'll see that the address at the bottom of this trade label is Ludgate Hill in London, and that was almost smack bang the neighbor of the British Armory. So they were very smart in positioning themselves to be very close to the British Armory. Now eventually they did move their business to number 27 Pall Mall, and the gun we're going to look at is a 470 Nitro Express double rifle, and that specific rifle actually comes from the Pall Mall address. Now this is one of those interesting gun makers where it started off as a gun maker, and eventually it actually became very well known more for blades, and I'll show you a couple of pictures. But firstly, Wilkinson made an immense amount of bayonets, and they developed a machine to actually test the strength of the steel in these bayonets during the First and Second World Wars. Now many of the younger generation will be familiar with Wilkinson Sword as the company that actually produced razor blades, and that was a mainstay of their business until they were acquired by Gillette and basically exited and doesn't exist as a running concern today anymore. However, there was a period of time when Wilkinson actually made a lot of these commemorative blades. So the Fairbairn Sykes knife that you can see there is a commemorative edition. It commemorates the commandos of the Second World War, and this Wilkinson Sword commemorative knife was made out as a commemorative deal for the commandos just after the Second World War. The Wilkinson rifle we're going to take a look at today is a 470 Nitro Express double rifle. Typical to the era, it was a lot of cooperation between Germany and England. So the barrels are actually Krupp steel from Germany, and then the action and everything was finished up by Wilkinson. Now Wilkinson didn't actually manufacture these guns, they just finished them. So I'll show you a couple of characteristics of this box lock action, which leads me to believe that this might actually have been built very similar to some of the double rifles that Watson turned out. But a couple of points you can see, it's very high quality. You know, Wilkinson built their last rifle and sold their last rifle in 1939. So this is a pre-1939 rifle, most probably in that region between, around about 1924, 1925. Typical of that era, the really big loop ends with which one needs to attach your sling. So if we look down at the bottom there, really huge sling ends. Then moving north on this rifle, the box lock actually has side clips. Now if you look at the rifle from the top, you can see it has a very sturdy third bite in there, which keeps the barrels really well attached to the action. The top lever also engraved, and then the non-automatic safety with safe lighting in silver. This rifle is a non-ejector model, so it just has extractors, so once you open it, it just pushes the two cases out about 1/4 of an inch, and you've got to flip it to actually get the cases out of the gun. Again, if we look at the sights on this rifle, you can see the 3 additional blades there on that raised rib at the back. The Wilkinson rifle, we're looking at comes as a box lock caliber 470 Nitro Express with kind of a fine scroll engraving, the name of the maker engraved on the side of the box lock, and then the action has side clips, and it has a third bite on the top where the 2 barrels actually come together in the third bite that locks into the action. It does not have a automatic safety, which is quite typical of the doubles of that era. And interesting, if you look at the way that the third bite locks in there, and also the fact that the end of that top tang is pointed. There was a couple of Watson rifles that looked very, very similar to this. So something to remember is that Wilkinson didn't actually manufacture this. They would obviously get actions from other makers and just finish them. And this Wilkinson in 470 is no exception to that. They just did the finishing and putting together of the gun. The barrels are Krupp steel from Germany, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. Something also slightly unique to this rifle, if we look at the rear island sights, they flip away from the rifle just like the old Jeffries would do, so nothing odd there. However, I do think it is really remarkable how positive and how optimistic people were in the old days. So here we have a rifle that's shot with open sights. It shoots a 500 grade bullet, and it has blades ranging anywhere from 65 yards right out to 300 yards. So that is truly optimistic. The rifle is disassembled by using the swing out lever to remove the actual front piece, and then once the front piece is removed, the rifle can be taken apart. So just a front piece being removed, and then the rifle being opened, and as you can see, it just comes apart right there. So again, very obvious the side clips, and then the Krupp steel barrels. This is an extractor type rifle, so it doesn't eject the cases. The cases are kept inside, and you actually have to tilt the rifle for the cases to fall out. On the front end of this rifle, Very sturdy set of front bead, pretty big raised island there to keep it all together, and a very simple and easy rifle to shoot. It shoots very well, and once regulated, you can really easily shoot this rifle out to about 120 yards. The rifle actually comes in pretty good shape, taking into consideration that Wilkinson sold their last rifle in 1939. So this is a rifle that is pretty old. The wood is in great shape, really good grain, straight grain wood. Comes with a solid rubber recoil pad. The brass oval is non-engraved, and typical of that era, we have these pretty substantial rings that take a thong to which is attached to the sling. So typical of that era, has a metal grip cap. Typical again of the doubles, you know, we have the two triggers, front trigger actually triggering the right barrel, and the hind trigger triggering the left barrel. And then you know, a rifle in really pretty good shape, taking into account the you know, the age. Very well built, and yeah, pretty good rifle. So as you can see, this rifle has the swing out release on the forearm, and very nice floral type engraving on the box lock action bottom plate there, as well as the trigger guard, metal grip cap, and then a vacant oval right at the bottom. The 470 Nitro Express was introduced by Joseph Lang just after 1907, and it came as a replacement for the 450 Nitro Express, which were banned in India and Africa due to the fact that the bullets could be pulled and used in the 5.77 Martini Henry rifles, which at that stage a lot of it was actually illegally in the hands of local population. So the 450 had a hell of a time, you know, in those British protectorates, and Joseph Lang developed the 470 Nitro Express, which shoots a .474 inch diameter 500 grain bullet at anywhere between 1900 and 2100 feet a second. So this became the mainstay, and today actually still is one of the most popular calibers for professional hunters guiding clients in Africa. Very well penetrating, very hard hitting caliber. The only deal with the 470 and most of these double rifles is that you have to regulate them. So I'm going to show you. I do cheat a little bit when I do develop loads for this. I want to show you just the target at the back there, and when we look at that target at the back, you'll see that up on the top end of that target there's two bullet holes, a left and a right, nice and close to each other. They were fired with this Wilkinson 470 Nitro Express. These were commercial Kynoch rounds, and most of these Kynoch rounds actually have a lower velocity. I put them through the chronograph, and they were running at about 1950 feet a second instead of 2000 or even 2100 feet a second. Now if you go down south, there's two bullet holes in the black just above the cartridge box there. Again, a left and a right. Both of these sets of left and right barrels were shot at 65 yards. The two bullet holes at the bottom were Norma PH commercially available ammunition. So just a word of caution, if you buy a double rifle, you need to make sure that you understand what velocity and what weight of bullet that specific rifle was regulated for, and then pursue reloading that. So what I do, knowing that this Wilkinson was a prior to 1939 rifle, I just bought Kynoch ammo, shot it, was very happy with how it performed at 65 yards, and chronographed it. And knowing that the Kynochs were, you know, reloaded with Woodley bullets, simply acquired Woodley bullets and reloaded them at exactly the same velocity. And that makes it a little easier, so you don't have to waste a lot of components, a lot of time and a lot of recoil on getting to your final load. So it makes a big difference. And then, you know, with any dangerous rifle like this, you need both soft and solid. So once the soft has been regulated, you know, the next step was just to get those Woodley Hydro solids to regulate at the same point of impact. And there you go, you have your bullets ready for Africa. But as I said, you know, it became a very, very popular caliber, so a lot of commercial ammunition is available. You can see the box of Norma on the end there. These are all available, and once you can, you know, once you settle on the correct velocity and bullet weight, and the rifle's regulated well, then you're good to go. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and until we meet again, stay safe and happy hunting.